Brent Haynes with Woodsounds Flutes, and I have the pleasure of sharing with you a Contra bass E flute made out of Brazilian rosewood, Tasmanian blackwood burl with coral, turquoise, copper inlay, and silver inlay, and it is really amazing. It also has Banksia pod. That's this stuff with like the little polka dots, the little oval kind of polka dots. It's Banksia pod, and this Banksia pod, everywhere that you see the little dot or little elliptic space with turquoise in it, that actually in the Banksia pod is where the seeds are come out of in the Banksia pod. The Banksia pod is like a pine cone in a way. They hang from the tree. It's where the seeds are, and but it's a very, very hard wood when you get down into where this is. The wood's very hard, and it comes from Australia. It's an Australian tree that produces the Banksia pods, and it is just really, really lovely. This instrument is made for a client, a man named Landon. He's been dreaming of this flute for a couple of years, and the flute, I've been working on this for a number of months now. Making it has been an absolute joy. I have had so much fun making this instrument for Landon, and I really appreciate the opportunity that he gave me to create this beautiful instrument. There are some really cool things about this flute that I want to share with you that allow bass flutes to be more accessible to a wider number of people. The first thing is the easy clean side blow. Now, an easy clean side blow can come with this extension mouthpiece, or it can have just a mouthpiece that comes right out of the end here. And that all depends on the size of the person who's going to be playing the flute and the size of the instrument that we're making. So if this were a bass A, having an extension like this would be ridiculous. It would just be too much. But on this Contra bass E flute, it really provides what's needed to allow me to be able to play the instrument. So let me show you this easy clean side blow. First off, it comes right out of the flute. In the flute body itself, in the slow air chamber, is inlaid a tube made out of nickel silver. And this nickel silver, I ordered as it's a match set so that the tubing can slide in and out and provide an airtight seal, even though you can move it. And so on this side, we have the tube again with, if you can see down inside this tube, you can see the wood here that sticks out. So basically this is a tenon that's coming out of the mouthpiece and just simply has the nickel silver on it to provide that seal with the flute. So let me tell you a little bit about this this easy clean side blow and give you some names for the easy clean side blow. First, we have the cap. The cap is what on a regular flute, on an end blown flute, would be the mouthpiece. This is the cap right here. The cap has on the end of it a little piece of tenon that comes down, and it's actually wood. Underneath this nickel silver is wood, the same Banksia pod, and there's an air path that goes through this wood, and then we have the horizontal transfer tube right here, and you can only see a little teeny bit, just a little bit of it, but it actually extends into the cap by probably a half an inch or so. It goes all the way through. It's more than a half an inch because it goes from the outside here to the middle of this cap, and the horizontal transfer tube also comes into this vertical transfer tube. The vertical transfer tube, so this join is very, very strong. When I first started making these, I made them very differently, and they just did not hold up to continual wear and tear on the instrument, normal wear and tear. And so I worked for a number of years on coming up with a way of creating this where this long tube would be quite strong. And I actually applied quite a bit of force to this, Now, you could drop it and you could break it or something, I imagine, if you drop it on concrete or something like that. But dropping this on a carpeted floor, I have no concerns about this thing breaking, because I have the Brazilian rosewood coming up into this horizontal transfer tube here. Excuse me, I have the horizontal transfer tube, turn it right so it looks right. So I have the horizontal transfer tube coming into the vertical transfer tube, and then on this side, the vertical transfer tube has a tenon made on it, similar to this mouthpiece, or the cap. It has a tenon that extends into the mouthpiece that is made out of the Brazilian rosewood. And so that join is very strong as well. And it just works really, really good. Of course, the whole thing is sealed internally and externally to prevent moisture from getting in and damaging the wood. That said, it's still something that you need to get the moisture out. As soon as you are done playing the flute, you want to get the moisture out of this mouthpiece assembly, because the water could potentially get through the finish that seals this. And so what we do to get that water out, all we do is just take and blow. It sprayed it in my face because of how I held that rag. You might have seen that, but it blew the water right at me. So I'll blow again, and I'm just blasting moisture out of this assembly to keep it clean. And then I would want to just sit this aside and allow it to air dry over a few hours, depending on where you live. And then the other attachment on the flute, you can see right here, turn it this way, you can see it's knotted on the side so that the tension holds. If I were to tie this knot over in here, there would be no way for it to have tension. So I always want to make sure the knot is on a curved surface. If it gets on a flat surface, it just doesn't hold well. And it's just a simple overhand, just the first step of tying your shoes. That's all that's needed here to be able to really securely hold this thumb rest. So what this piece is right here is a thumb rest, and it allows me to with my thumb to easily hold the weight of the flute with just my thumb. I'm really excited about this particular thing. I've been doing the mouthpieces, the Easy Clean mouthpiece, for quite a while now. But the thumb rest is something that I've been trying to figure out how to make this thing so that it is easy to move it and adjust it for your particular hands. I got great big gorilla hands, and so for me playing the instrument and having the thumb rest, I need it in a different place than someone that has smaller hands. And so, or just the configuration of their hand is such that maybe they need it below the hole. I like it a little bit above the hole that I'm covering with my thumb, or with my finger, my index finger. I've got clients that place their thumbs behind their index finger, so like down in here instead of up here. And this really is very close to just directly behind right now. For me, it's actually a little bit uncomfortable there, so I'm going to slide it up a little bit, and that's a whole lot better for me to hold it with my thumb just a little bit above my index finger, the hole where my index finger is. Now this piece is, we have the leather strap holding it in place, and then on the bottom of the piece we have a curve cut into this long part of the thumb rest, and I put suede goat hide, or goat leather on that piece. I attach that suede there so that it provides a really fantastic, soft, non-scratching connection between the flute and the thumb rest. Also, the suede provides just a great amount of friction. It's not rough but smooth, and yet it really sticks to the finish of the flute. And so that allows me to, with just a little bit of pressure, to be able to tie that thumb rest wherever I need it and get a secure weight-bearing thumb rest. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on. You can play the flute. I've been playing around with it, seeing which way do I like it best. And you can tie the thumb rest on literally wherever you want on the flute. I can move it. So instead of on the bottom hole, this time I'm going to move it up and I'm going to play it on the top hole. So I'll just snug it up and put a simple overhand knot. Now this time I'm going to put the overhand knot on the right side of the flute because this is for my left hand. So I just simply the first step of tying your shoes, and that's all I do. Just that one little knot, I turn it sideways, and that baby is good to go. So now I can use my top hand as the hand for the thumb rest. One of the other things that you'll notice is that I have this turned a little bit to the right hand side, and it's just because my hands are large enough that my thumb kind of wraps around the flute a little bit, and so I really am not comfortable with it directly behind the flute on the bottom of the flute, but I like it just a little bit offset to the opposite side of the direction my hand's coming into the instrument. So when I put the mouthpiece in, I like to put just a little bit of grease or wax on the metal of this of the nickel silver here. Frankly, you can use cork grease. That works great. You can pick it up in virtually any music store. But frankly, you know, chapstick or lip balm, that works just great. As long as it's an oil-based lip balm, you don't want to put necessarily a water-based material there. Now, one of the other things this Easy Clean Side Blow does is I can literally move it wherever is most comfortable for me to play. I can put it right behind the flute like this, and I can play with the flute directly in front of my face. That's one place I could do it. This would be like a 90-degree position instead of this, say, right here is 0 coming off the side directly. I like it not at the 90, but right in between, right at a 45. Instead of having the flute, you know, side blow like this or something, or you know, behind like this, I put it at that 45, and it allows me to bring the flute in like this, where I bring it in and it angles back towards my right side, and the front of the flute comes out front, and then I'm able to keep my head just straight, and it works so good. It just is so easy to be able to play the instrument that way. It's very, very comfortable. My neck is straight. I'm not twisting my neck like this to play it. You know, you do this. The problem is that the sound is so captivating that you start playing it and you literally just get lost in the sound of the instrument, that you could get your neck kind of a little stiff by having it twisted this way, holding it too long by playing too long. So I like to have my neck nice and straight, so that if I get lost in the music for 2 hours, I'm not going to end up with a kink in my neck. So just playing it like this works really wonderful. can just grab you and pull you in. It's just a lot of fun. One of the other things that I'm very excited to be able to introduce you to on this flute is the metal inlays that I've begun doing. On this flute, I have silver and copper inlays. I also have some gold inlays that I'm doing for another gentleman on a double flute. It is so beautiful. It's really, really a gorgeous instrument that we're making him. And it's going to have all three metals. He wanted, he's using all three metals to represent the Trinity, and we're going to be doing a Trinity symbol down here on his flute with the copper, silver, and gold. So it's going to be very, very fun. On this instrument, I had this idea while I was making the shoulder inlays. We've got the coral up here. We've got the turquoise, and then underneath that, we've got a line of copper. This is the first time I've done any of this, and it just looks so incredible. And I thought, oh my gosh, it would look great to be able to put some little circles of silver inlay underneath that. And it's the first time I've ever done that, and I'm so excited about it. I love the look. I think it's just stunning. And I did a similar sort of thing on the center inlay. We've got abalone with copper on either side, and then the silver circles going around the flute. So it's just a really cool accent to the instrument. So let's see, what else can I tell you about this instrument? We obviously have the turquoise heart with coral inlays, and on the Banksia pod on the Brazilian rosewood. I'm going to play it one more time, and then we'll go ahead and close the video. If you have an interest in an instrument like this, please give me a call. I would love to talk to you about it. These big flutes, the bass flutes, we don't have any of them in the classics because they take a lot more time, a lot more energy to be able to make the instrument, and so they just don't fit into the classic realm. So every one of them is a custom creation. It's something that we're making specific for you to your specifications. So that's from a bass B all the way down to a contra bass D, which is 2 steps lower than this instrument and is just a little bit longer. So, oh, that was one of the things I wanted to show you. The length of this, how long is this thing? And so let me go ahead and measure this. I think I'll come the other direction. Okay. So this flute is, get this up on this side for you. This flute is actually 46.5 inches. It's huge. It's so big. And wow, it's just awesome. Just really awesome. It's 30 inches from the cap right here down to the bottom finger hole is 30 inches, which is just a long ways to reach, and really too long for me, even though I've got, you know, gorilla hands. It's just too long. But with the transfer tube from the mouthpiece down to the bottom finger hole, it's only 21 inches, which is very doable. That's like playing a low C maybe. So it's a totally different vibe playing it from this mouthpiece rather than from the cap. So very cool. Again, I'm Brent Haynes with Woodsound Flutes. I would love to talk to you about a bass flute, either a bass B or A, or get down into the G's and the F sharps, or even a contrabass flute. They are so fun and so wonderful and captivating. I would just love to be able to hear you making music on it. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon.